All right, hello wine drinking people. It's Thursday, April 15th, tax day. That's right, folks. Run out there and get your taxes done if they're not finished. I know that's what I'm doing as soon as I finish with these announcements. What did I drink yesterday? All right, well, yesterday was an Olympic day in the store. We had 4 suppliers in. First up, we had Nathan from American Wine Estates, Estate Wines rather, and this is kind of an odd name for a company that does Australian wines for the most part, and some New Zealand things, which is what Nathan had out with him yesterday, some New Zealand and Australian wines. And the New Zealand stuff I'm becoming quite an expert on, as we've done several tastings with New Zealand this year. The last one, pretty comprehensive with 23 wines. And yesterday we started out with an old favorite, this wine from Tasmania, Piri Estate, the Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris, also known as Pinot Grigio in Italy, and this is more like the style of Pinot Gris that you get in Alsace, a little more full-bodied, a little richer, very nice, a little bit of saltiness on the finish, and very fresh, leaves the tongue salivating for food. This is what we like in a nice crisp white wine. The Roaring Meg. The people in New Zealand are also kind of funny like the Australians. Meg is actually the name of a very famous prostitute, and they named a river after Meg, and now they have a wine named after Meg. The Roaring Meg Riesling from Central Otago, the South Island. This wine had a little bit of that petroliness, some nice peach fruit, a little bit of lime citrus. Very nice dry style Riesling with a little bit of spritz on the tongue on the finish. Again, leaves the tongue salivating for food. This is what we're looking for in an aromatic, fresh white from a cold climate. Next up, the Silax Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough. This is one of the big wineries, and outstanding juice, maybe not quite as fruit cocktaily, well, definitely not quite as fruit cocktaily as most New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, a little more on the austere side, very nice, some distinct minerality in this wine, very good. And then the Roaring Meg Pinot, one of the best Pinots that I have had this year for under $20. This wine was excellent, it had structure, it had depth. A lot of Pinot Noir from New Zealand can be a little light on the fruit in the mid-palate. This one was very good. And then the Mount Difficulty, one of their top wines. They do make several single vineyard Pinots at this winery also that we do not see in this country, that are a step up in quality supposedly, but this wine was outstanding. Definitely a step up from the Roaring Meg, but I don't know if it was worth the price, almost twice the price. And then one of the big Shirazes of the Barossa, Turkey Flats, the Butcher's Block. This wine was outstanding, very big, from a great vintage. 2005, had that textbook chocolate that you get in Barossa Valley Shiraz. Very ripe fruit, lovely soft velvety tannins, really nice. And I'm sorry, that's the big Shiraz from them. The Butcher's Block is a blend of Shiraz and Grenache, kind of a Rhone style blend. The Turkey Flat Shiraz from the Barossa is the 95-point J. Miller rated wine from the Wine Advocate. Very big, and as I explained just before. Okay, next up we had one of the great wineries of Oregon, Domaine Serene. The Southeast Regional Sales Manager, Ginger Dollins, was in to show us the new releases from this property, from the Dundee Hills. And, well, I shouldn't say they're the new releases, because this is kind of what they have left to sell. They weren't all 07s, thank God. 07 is a vintage, as you've been listening to the show, I'm not very fond of. But they did have a very nice Chardonnay, the Clos de Cille, the Dijon clones. I've always asked why they can't make great Chardonnays in Oregon, and people give me different answers, if they have the wrong clones in the wrong areas. But this is one of the better Chardonnays. Very Côte de Beaune-like, very Burgundian, very fresh, some distinct underlying minerality to this wine, and some lovely fruit. Very good. As I said, one of the best Chardonnays I've had from Oregon. We don't expect anything less from Domaine Serene, though. And then a very unique wine, the Coeur Blanc, which is Pinot Noir pressed and then fermented without in contact with the skins, so white Pinot Noir. Very interesting. I don't know if it was worth the price, though. A little bit of bitterness on the finish that I didn't like. And then the 2007 that we had, the Yamhill Cuvée, kind of the entry-level wine from this property. Very nice, but a little bit light in the mid-palate. Definitely one of the better 07s that I've had. They picked before the rain, and the wine's pretty good for an 07. But when you have 06s around, I don't know why we're talking about 07 in Oregon. The 06 Evenstadt Reserve, outstanding. This is always one of my favorite Pinot Noirs from Oregon. And then the Winery Hill was most excellent. Check out these reviews online. We've got them written up and with pricing. Wines are a little expensive, but good Pinot Noir is. Syrah, something that really hasn't taken off in this country the way a lot of winemakers thought it would after the phenomenon with Australian Shiraz. but this wine is excellent. It's just labeled Walla Walla. It's from the Oregon side of Walla Walla. The Walla Walla Valley does run from Washington into Oregon. This wine had some lovely black pepper spice, black plum fruit, really great, almost northern Rhone-esque, a little bit of that bacon fat to it. Very nice, a little, as the French call, animal or sauvage. Very good. Last, we had Larry from Co-Brand, and Larry is one of the foremost experts on, well, I don't want to say just French wine, because he knows quite a bit about wine in general, and I always see him at the Great Wine Seminar. Most really knowledgeable people only really knowledgeable people from the industry make it to this event. This is the Olympics of wine drinking. It's coming up in 2 weeks, and I promise Bob and Arlette I'm going to get the vintages up on the website today or tomorrow with everything we're showing. But Larry's always there. This year we have Pierre-Emmanuel Tattinger will be there from Co-Brand, and Larry stopped by with the 2008 vintage of Jadot. As you can see, all the dead soldiers that we have right here. There's still a little bit left in the Polini Montrachet if anybody wants to come by and take a sip of that. 08 looks to be another very good vintage in Burgundy. Along the lines of 07, I think, in the whites, and maybe a little bit better for the reds, but it's very kind of early to tell. I haven't had a lot of things. Jadot's wines, always very impressive, though. Check out the reviews on that. This is a pre-sale. These wines are not available in the store. They'll be available probably in the fall of this year. And then last night for dinner, of course, as I mentioned, that 2007 Bruno Colin that I left sitting on the counter was incredible. Open almost 24 hours, just left at room temperature. I am now recommending that you decant this wine for a full day before you drink it. Any of these 07 whites, really, just, it was like the same wine times 200 in terms of concentration. Just an incredible wine after open 24 hours, sitting at room temperature in the glass. And then I had a little bit of the 2005 Shining Hill from Columbia Valley, the second wine of Col Solare. And, you know, I reviewed this wine the other day, and it is good, but we have a killer deal coming out on Col Solare. Check it out probably next week on the email at about the same price as this Shining Hill for the 2006. So, what am I drinking tonight? Well, tonight we've got the Spanish tasting here at the store. Tony is at home fixing up the appetizers, and should be a fantastic evening. We still have a few seats available. Actually, it's a walk-around tasting, not seats, but we only take 25 for the walk-around events here in the store. And tomorrow night, Borgogno, 8 vintages, 61, 67, 78, 82, 85, 88, 90, and 98. Yes, that's right, folks. We're taking them all down tomorrow with or without you. We do have a few spaces left for that. We got a 4-course meal being cooked by Chef Mike Saperstein. It's going to be outstanding. What have I got to sell you today? Well, today we've got one of the landmark wineries in Carneros, Domaine Chandon. This winery has been producing wine for about 30 years. They focus on the 3 varietals they use to make Champagne: Pinot Meunier, Pinot Noir, and Chardonnay. And last week somebody opened up this wine, the Pinot Meunier, for brown bag. We did mention it as a couple of times last week as it was open in the store. But that's today the feature of our email. And Pinot Meunier, well, it was opened up, everybody smelled it, and then we looked at each other, and some people obviously were paying attention to the email last week because that wine was sniffed out in just a few moments. But very similar to Pinot Noir. I think if people were not paying so close attention to the email messages, we may not have had that sniffed out so quickly, but focus on the kind of gamey and nutty character to this. You get kind of a hazelnut character and a really lovely spice, just like Pinot Noir, light in color. Check it out on today's email, Domaine Chandon Pinot Meunier 2007. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasone, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.